clear. I mean, I'm sure all of you are from a financial background and already have a lot of experience in finance. So I'm not going to go into details. I'm just going to look at it from a technical perspective, how to implement it in Excel. And the objective today here is making a financial model in Excel. So getting on with this. Right. So what is financial modeling? Before we get into that, today's schedule, first session, financial modeling. Then we have a small break. Second session will be valuation using the DCF model. The third session, we'll start with M&A, and we'll do a small accretion dilution analysis on that. And finally, we'll have a small session with LBO. Most of these templates I'm just going to run through. I'm not going to go into very much into detail in all the aspects, because obviously we have different business models, people from different business communities sitting over here, and they all have their own set of line items in accounting and so forth. I'm just going to give a technical point of view. So later on, Mr. Farhan and I can probably answer some questions once the session is done. So please, I request you all, hold your questions if they are related to accounting for the end of the session. If they are related to Excel, yes, I'll be able to answer them right away. The goals of the first session, that's financial statements. We'll be understanding what financial statements are, just the concepts, not in detail. And then we'll start building a full-scale model hands-on. The first template that you've downloaded from the website is the financial model template. We're also going to talk about the flow between the different statements on the template. The first statement that we're going to work on will be the income statement. Then we'll start to work on the depreciation and the other supporting schedules and the cash flow statement. And we'll also work on the, finally we'll work on the balance sheet and the debt schedule. So that will conclude the first session. The second session will be valuation, where we'll talk of the DCF module, that's the discounted cash flow module. And after that, in the third session, post lunch, we'll talk about M&A modeling using the accretion dilution analysis. And finally, we'll work on the LBO model. So beginning with the first part, that is your financials. You have the income statement. Now, how do you build the income statement? The income statement basically measures your financial performance over a period of time. You can say it's like a slow motion or a video camera versus the balance sheet, which is actually a snapshot in time. Now, all of you are already aware of the concept, so I'm not going to go into detail again. The main line items that we're going to be concentrating on will be the cost of goods sold, SG&A, depreciation, so on. So, and the next part will be building the statement. So the top line obviously will be the revenues. Then we'll move on to the two major categories of expenses, that is cost of goods sold, OPEX. And then we'll talk about the EBITDA and other non-cash items as well. And finally, when we come to distributions and net income as reported. So once we are done with the income statement, then we start building the cash flow statement. The cash flow statement basically is the actual cash flowing in and out of the company, rather than just the revenue recorded, which could also contain some non-realized items. So the cash flow will actually give us the value of cash coming in and out of the company. This will be helpful for us when we are especially working on valuation. The valuation bit takes cash flow as one of the major perspectives of the company. So in the cash flow statement, we'll be talking about three major categories: cash from operating activities, from investing, and from financing activities. This is just a basic example. I'm not going to go into the details of the example. Just imagine someone owns a wholesale distribution company, right? And he books a profit, he books a revenue of 100,000. Now, in that 100,000, he's got 15,000 of employee wages, 25,000 of cost of goods sold, 10,000 other expenses, and asset depreciation is 15. So the reported net income was 35,000. This is what his income statement looks like. Now, this example is basically to illustrate the need of a cash flow statement when we are talking about valuation. So you have your income statement. At the end, you see a beautiful figure of 35,000. Moving on, what happens is he has a check coming up for 30,000, but unfortunately the check bounces. In the bank, he only has 25,000. How can that be when reported was 35? So he asks his accountant to give him a detailed statement. Do you see the problem here? Does anyone see the problem? Come on, I believe all of you are from a good financing background, accounting. It's in the first, second line actually. There, revenue from credit. So that is where he is not received the cash. That payment or the services, the goods given to the customer are on credit. Also the depreciation has been deducted. So what he needs to do basically is adjust the net income against these two, right? That will give us the cash flow statement. So again, when he adjusts the net income against these two items, he finally arrives to what the cash flow statement is. So 25,000 is actually what he has in hand. Now, we're also going to talk about depreciation. Now, the difference here is we have IFRS rules in UAE. Therefore, we have your reducing balance kind of depreciation. In the US, obviously, where Mecca is, so we have a different kind of depreciation. But we're not going to talk about that in detail now. Again, we'll just look at it from the perspective of valuation and how depreciation comes into picture when we talk about DCF, when we talk about mergers, when we talk about, you can say, leverage buyouts as well. Working capital, again, all of you are aware of this. I'm not going to go into details. And finally, financial modeling in Excel. So there are two basic theories of building a financial model. The first one is the balance sheet drives the cash flow. And the second one is the cash flow drives the balance sheet. Now, I believe that the second one, that is the cash flow driving the balance sheet, is a more logical approach. Although there are some proponents to my belief, yes, you can have a balance sheet drives the cash flow. But thinking of cash coming in and out of the company as driving the balance sheet and then basing your financial model on that would be a more, I would say, a safe approach for someone who's planning to evaluate a company or who's planning to go ahead with maybe some sort of a M&A or maybe a buyout. So we are going to do a cash driving a balance sheet model today, and part of that model will be these statements. The first, the income statement. Second, the cash flow. Third, the balance sheet. Fourth, the depreciation schedule. These will be the supporting schedules, the last three. Depreciation, working capital, and debt schedules. So these are going to be plugged into the other statements. Basically, when we make the income statement, we'll leave some spaces over there. When we make the cash flow statement also, we'll leave some spaces over there. When we finish these schedules, we'll again link this back into those statements. So that way we have like a flow going through all the statements. Finally, when we work on the balance sheet, everything comes together. And last, we will work on the debt schedule. Debt schedule is always worked last. The next part, how do we get started? Now, as I said, we follow these steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, rule of thumb for any good financial analyst, look at the formatting, okay? So, if you have, suppose, a newcomer coming to your company, he would not understand how you are formatting your statements. This is the general rule of thumb when you are formatting a financial model. You have your black text, which is your formulae. Your blue, which is your hard codes or your fixed values. Your green text are links from probably the same page, and red is external links coming from another sheet. What we refrain from is blanks, and what we also do not do is we do not hide, or we try not to group cells together, so that if we are giving this as some sort of a model for the higher ups, maybe to maybe the CFO or CEO of the company to decide, they do not have any information missing, so we do not hide any cells. All right, modeling the income statement. Now, this is also good practice. Try not to do hard coding. All right. Start by calculating the actuals column first before you start with the projections, obviously, because if you have the actuals, then you can talk about the projections. Try to have at least 3 years of actuals with you when you start, when you try to project. And if you're projecting maybe for 5 or 7 years, so having a good solid background of 3 actuals would be enough for you to project forward. Then the next thing, the following assumptions that we are going to make when we start modeling. The first assumption is going to be steady revenue growth of 10%. All right. So modeling is all about making assumptions. When you're modeling your financial model, you have to make certain assumptions in some places. Now, the problem with modeling is no model is foolproof. Anything can happen in the future, you are not sure of. But we try to keep our model as realistic as possible. That is why when we make assumptions, we base our assumptions on certain market reports. We base our assumptions on what business the company is in, what market share the company has, how it has been operating. So that is the basis of our assumptions. And the start, I mean, for our assumptions, for this purpose of this model that we are going to build today, 10% year on year driven by volume growth, not price growth, volume growth. Cost of goods sold and operating expenses remain the same percent of revenue as in the actual years, and assuming all other expenses and share counts are constant in future years. So just basic assumptions. In the future, if there are changes, maybe we can make those changes for the model. The next thing that we are going to talk, the next thing that we will do is the cash flow statement, obviously. And these assumptions, that is the depreciation and capex, come from the depreciation schedule. Now, we all know what capex is. I'm not going to go into that. We'll build the depreciation schedule before we start building the cash flow statement. So first we start with the income statement, we go to the depreciation schedule, then we come back to the cash flow statement. All right. So changes in working capital also come from the working capital schedule, which means we'll also have to build the working capital before we start the cash flow statement. So income statement, depreciation schedule, working capital schedule, and then the cash flow statement. And finally, short and long-term borrowings can be held at zero, but will eventually come in from the debt schedule. The debt schedule is the last thing that we are going to build in the model. Another assumption that we're making here is the PP&E, that's property, plant and equipment, would be 5275 in the beginning balance of 2017. Additional capex is given for each period. I've already put it in the Excel sheet for you, so you won't have to ask me again for it. And I'm not going to go into the formulae, but this is good to know information. It is in your handouts, the formulae. So if you want a ready reference, it'll be there with you in your handouts. Number of days are given, value in the forecast period. So these are calculations for basically number of days for different line items. Basic calculation for days, not going to go into that. Debt schedule, again, not going into that. Assets, all of you know what assets are. Liabilities, yes. Shareholders' equities. Yep, okay. Balance sheet, balancing techniques. All right. Once we are done with our balance sheet, we'll talk about balancing the balance sheet, basically. Because more times what happens is it becomes difficult for the accounting team to actually balance the balance sheet. So I'm just giving you some few pointers on how to balance your balance sheet, how to solve an unbalanced sheet also, So if you're having any problems, it's all in the handouts. You can have a look at it and probably implement it in your company as and when you feel like. All right. Now, before we go into valuation, I'm going to start with the Excel sheet. I hope all of you have downloaded the Excel sheet and have it open on your screen right now.